Okay, Estevão Willian's getting scarier and frightening. Yes, because this isn't just another Brazilian wonder kid. This is a player who's bending the sport at 18. Every once in a generation, football produces someone who doesn't follow the rules, but rewrites them in real time. And right now there's a teenager wearing Chelsea blue.
He can play everywhere. He's so good. And for me, it's like goal in terms, careful, it's like goal in terms of position. He can play outside, he can play inside, he can play everything.
His arrival in Europe hasn't been gradual, it's been a meteor strike. And just 17 matches into his first Chelsea season, and Estevão is already producing like a star. 5 goals, 1 assist, he's the youngest player to register an assist in league history, 3 Champions League goals, and 11 total goal contributions for club and country this season. But the scary part isn't the numbers, it's the timing. He delivers in the biggest moments against the Premier League champions. He scored in the last minute, dragging Chelsea to a priceless win that has them sitting second in the league. And against Barcelona in the Champions League, he didn't just play well, he dominated. He scored, he created, he controlled his entire flank, and he made Pau Kubasi look exactly what he is compared to him. A kid trying to stop a force of nature. And just when you think the hype is too much, Brazil comes in and makes everything even more absurd. Estevão is scoring a goal every 94 minutes for the Seleção. To put that into perspective, Ronaldo Nazário scored every 125 minutes, Neymar every 135. Estevão is surpassing both legends of his country. At 18, Chelsea aren't just nurturing a star. Brazil isn't just building a prospect. Together, they're shaping a player who's tracking like a top 10 footballer on the planet right now. Tactically, the kid is a weapon with multiple layers. His dribbling isn't flashy, it's functional destruction.
He was really good today again. Very young, he's even younger than me, but such a great player.
Have you seen a teenager like this?
If I've seen a teenager like this, yeah, maybe Lamine, Yamal, but cannot name other names, I think.
FotMob already recorded that he averages 3.7 successful dribbles per 90, placing him among Chelsea's most dangerous carriers and one of the most efficient young attackers in the entire Premier League. But what makes him special is the purpose behind every touch. He dribbles to break lines, drag center backs out of shape, collapse entire blocks, create new shooting angles, and attack half spaces like a veteran playmaker. Not only that, then comes the finishing. He's averaging 2.9 shots per 90, 1.1 on target, and every one of them chosen with intention and mentally. This is where things become terrifying. Champions League penalty goal versus Ajax. Premier League late winner versus Liverpool scored. Duel versus Lamine Yamal in Chelsea versus Barcelona. He outshone the Spaniard completely.
You could see Yamal after Estevão's goal, like, Yamal was so sad. Yamal was so sad.
These aren't moments for normal teenagers. These are moments for players who will define the next decade of football, and Estevão Willian is showing signs that he might be one of them. This is not hype. This is not propaganda. This is what happens when a generational Brazilian talent starts accelerating faster than anyone predicted. And if this is only the beginning, Chelsea and Brazil may have just unlocked a monster. Chelsea aren't just signing young talents anymore, they're engineering them. And the Estevão Willian project is the clearest example of how the Blues are trying to build a footballing superstructure that goes beyond transfers. Knowing clearly that recruitment brings him in, yes, but development is what turns him into a weapon. And the plan the club has for him is far more ambitious than anyone imagined. From the moment Estevão landed at Cobham, insiders whispered the same thing. He won't stay on the wing forever, because while he could easily become the greatest right winger in Chelsea's history, the club sees something bigger, something more central, something more dangerous. They believe his talent shouldn't be limited to one corridor of the pitch. They want him to influence every zone, every combination, every decisive moment. It's the Cole Palmer blueprint all over again. Start wide, dominate 1 versus 1, gradually move into the heart of the team where the most important decisions live.
He can play everywhere. He's so good. And for me, it's like goal in terms, careful, it's like goal in terms of position. He can play outside, he can play inside, he can play everywhere. In our 5 attacking position. For me, he can play.
Estevão has the dribbling of a winger, the finishing of a striker, and the vision of a number 10, a terrifying hybrid that Premier League defenders are nowhere near prepared for. Inside the club, there's no hesitation. The belief is that within 2 years, Estevão will evolve from elite right-winger to world-class central creator, a move that could completely transform the way Chelsea dominate in attacking areas.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Troy, actually. He's an absolute superstar. And what he's doing at the age he's at is absolutely incredible as well. What I love the manager at the moment, the manager's looking after him. I think the fans and a few of us would like to see a little bit more game time at times, but as a young kid, you've got to be broken into the team. And
they're not even worried about Cole Palmer's role, because the internal view is simple. When you have 2 players capable of being top 10 in the world, you adapt the system, not the talent. Journalist Matt Law said it clearly. The view in the club is very much that in the next 2 years, he will move from being a right winger to a number 10. This is why the Premier League is already nervous, because Estevão isn't being developed like a normal winger. He's being sculpted into a multi-phase creator, someone who dictates tempo, breaks lines, and finishes chances with the efficiency of a forward. So now it's time to break down the technical traits that are driving everyone insane, the details that explain why managers, analysts, and defenders are already calling him the best under-20 player in the world. And trust me, once you understand these details, you'll realize the Estevão Willian experiment isn't just dangerous, and it's inevitable. Chelsea fans had already seen glimpses of Estevão's talent, but his goal against Barcelona was the moment the whole world understood what this kid really is: a statement, a warning, and a direct message to Lamine Yamal himself. Champions League night. Pressure at boiling point, and Estevão, at just 18, played the single most fearless sequence of the match. He received the ball under pressure, played a first-touch combination that broke Barcelona's midfield line, and instantly accelerated into space. Reece James returned it to him in stride, leaving the Brazilian one-on-one with Pau Cubarsí, one of the best young defenders in Europe. And that's exactly when Estevão switched into something different. He faced Cubarsí, stepped into the box, and with a double movement that looked almost like slow-motion magic, he made the Barcelona defender look like a confused soul as he sent him the wrong way. Suddenly, he has no angle, trapped in the byline with Joan Garcia covering every angle in the post. But Estevão doesn't operate within normal angles. He created his own off-balance, almost falling. He unleashed a powerful strike that almost broke the net and left Joan Garcia very helpless. The ball riffled to the top of the net, and Stamford Bridge exploded in joy and couldn't help it but watch the ball sail into the back of the net. But the craziest part is that this wasn't new. The finish looked almost identical to the goal Estevão scored against Chelsea at the Club World Cup. Same angle, same power, same audacity. This is his signature, and doing it against Barcelona, in the Champions League, with the world watching, says everything about the level he is reaching. Enzo Maresca has built Chelsea around strict positional discipline, a system that only works when players understand timing, geometry, and spatial control. And the terrifying part is that Estevão, at just 18, already behaves like someone who has been mastering this structure for a decade. Even though the team sheet calls him a right winger, his real role is far more complex. He's the inverted right-sided playmaker, the destructor of opposition rigid blocks, the creative spark that Enzo Maresca's system into something more frightening and more dangerous. The right flank is no longer just a lane, it's a funnel, a pressure valve, and a launch pad, and Estevão stands right at the center of it, with his left foot guiding everything. He constantly drifts into the inside channel, forming triangles with the right back and the right-sided midfielder. This movement accomplishes several things at once. It creates overload in the half space. It opens passing corridors through the interior rather than the wing. It forces the opposition fullbacks to choose between tracking him or protecting the wide zone, and it frees space for the overlapping run behind him. His heat map on FotMob says it all. He isn't a classic winger glued to the paint. He's a hybrid creator who lives between the lines, combining, rotating, and destabilizing structures from within. And while Chelsea often dominate possession under Maresca, Estevão provides something different: vertical. Whenever Chelsea win the ball, he becomes a spear pointed straight at the opposition defense, either carrying it with that explosive first step or bursting into the space behind the back line. He accelerates transitions, turns slow attacks into sudden disasters for defenders, and brings a level of directness that Chelsea desperately needed last season. What makes him even more frightening is that his dribbling isn't chaotic, it's exceptional. and it's calculated. His rate of 3.7 successful take-ons per 90 is already among the best at the club, and he does it with intention rather than flair for flair's sake. Every dribble has a purpose, breaking the first line, shifting angles, drawing fouls, collapsing defensive blocks, or attacking gaps in the half space. Teenagers normally dribble to express themselves, but Estevão dribbles to hurt opponents. It's efficient, brave, and unusually mature. His creative output reflects this same level of responsibility. With 1.4 chances created per match and a combined expected goals plus expected assists around 0.9 per 90, he is performing at the levels of Premier League. Attackers usually reach at 23 or 24, not 18. His passing is sharp and purposeful. Cutbacks from the half space, switches of play to isolate the opposite winger, threaded passes into the box, and quick combinations around the edge of the area. The fact he maintains an 81% pass accuracy in the Champions League, despite constantly attempting high-risk actions, speaks volumes about his decision-making. And then comes the finishing. Estevão averages almost 3 shots per match, with more than 1 on target, numbers that place him among young attackers who expect to score rather than hope to score. His calmness in decisive moments is extraordinary. The Champions League penalty against Ajax, the last-minute winner against Liverpool, both moments are where most teenagers would hide, but he stepped forward and executed with absolute serenity. For a player his age to carry that level of responsibility is abnormal, and for him to deliver under that pressure is outright terrifying. Beyond these technical traits, Estevão carries a goal orientation that is almost unnatural for a player his age, a kind of cold, calculated instinct, usually seen only in fully formed, world-class forwards. Against Liverpool, in one of the most pressurized moments of the season, Chelsea collapsed the left side through a diagonal from Marc Cucurella, and there was Estevão, Big Steve, to the Chelsea nation, holding the perfect distance from Andy Robertson. Never panicking, never rushing, simply waiting for the ball to arrive before finishing with ice in his veins to deliver one of Chelsea's most important wins of the year. But that moment is just one example of how many different ways this kid can attack the goal. When he cuts inside from the right into central areas, his threat becomes almost impossible to anticipate. He doesn't care about distance. If he spots a gap between defenders, he has a long-range strike that carries a big punch far beyond what an 18-year-old should logically be capable of. The power, the timing, the technique, all of it belongs to a player 10 years older, 10 years more experienced, 10 years more complete. And then there is his pressing. Estevão doesn't just press, he haunts defenders. His pace forces mistakes, his anticipation triggers turnovers, and when he wins the ball, high up the pitch, Estevão decision-making becomes terrifyingly efficient. In 1-versus-1 situations, he behaves like a veteran wide forward, showing alarming calmness, twisting away from pressure, and finishing with an imagination that borders on arrogance like that outrageous little chip over the Wolverhampton goalkeeper, a goal only scored by players who genuinely fear nothing. He is equally lethal when arriving late into the box, a trait most young wingers simply don't possess yet. His final goal for Palmeiras against Chelsea is the clearest proof. Starting outside the box, he surged into the box like a second striker, beating fast defenders with pure acceleration and then smashing an almost impossible strike from a tight angle, a thunderbolt so violent that Robert Sanchez didn't even react. It was a finish of elite timing, elite speed, and elite conviction, the kind of goal that announces a superstar before he becomes one.
Dude, he's the best left-footed U20 player in the world of football right now. Whether you like it or not.
You'll get mad at whoever likes it. Forgive me, I'll repeat it because I've seen him a lot, because I've seen the youth team, I'm telling you. Today, the best left-footed U20 player right now is called Estevão, and he's Brazilian. Hey, what are you talking about? Liberado's won a goal. She's won everything with the Liberado. She's saying, what I see, the best left-footed U20 player in the world is called Estevão. He scores more goals than the Minions. He dribbles better than the Minions. He gets into the penalty area better than the Minions at Chelsea. Well, he hasn't seen any Chelsea games. I watched every single one of their games.
Let's get something straight from the start. The comparisons with Lamine Yamal are unnecessary, truly unnecessary. Estevão is already a crack in his own right, a fully formed talent whose technical ceiling is absolutely on the same level as Yamal's, and in some aspects, frighteningly, he might even go higher.
As he does that, he can only get better. The future for Estevão is as bright can be. He's not quite Lamine Yamal status just yet, but
The numbers from his first Premier League minutes are absurd for an 18-year-old. 475 minutes played, 4 goals from 22 shot attempts, 3.8 expected goals, 1 assist, 1.5 expected assists from 8 chances created, 56 progressive carries, and 46 1-versus-1 attempts. He leads Chelsea not just in shot volume, but in high-quality shots above 0.2 xG, in 1-versus-1 attempts, and in 1-versus-1 situations inside the box. That is not promise, that is production at an elite rate, and this is where context matters. The typical narrative of a young Brazilian wonder kid moving to a big European club usually turns into disappointment.
With young players, most of the time you are a little bit worried because they play 1 game, 2 games, good game, they score and they think that they are already top players. The good thing about Estevão that we don't need to be worried about that because it's very humble, it's very polite, he wants to work hard. He has fantastic family that they are very close to him. And for me personally, it's fantastic because it's a special player, but in the same time, you don't have to be worried to say, okay, now he's going to play 1 game, 2 games, score, and he's already thinking that he knows how good he is. But the good thing is that it's very simple guy, simple.
Endrick's struggles at Real Madrid are the most recent and painful example. The level of intensity is higher, defenders are stronger, and the pressure to deliver immediately often suffocates even the brightest talents.
What is the difference between playing in Germany, France, and in England Premier League, in your opinion? Because Premier League seems like they say it's the most difficult.
No, it is the most difficult by far. Like, big respect to all the leagues in the world and all the leagues I've played in, but the Premier League is just different. The intensity in the Premier League is like out of this world, and you need to be locked in every single second. Sometimes like back in the day, you could take a touch, turn around and take your time. Here, boy, ball's coming, man's coming as well. Do you know what I mean? So you don't have that much time to think. So you need to like process it as quick as it goes, and But it's the intensity for me, the physicality. Still.
Many get loaned out again and again before they can even breathe. Big Steve never fit that profile. Statistically, he has always been different. At 17, he scored 13 league goals and produced 9 assists for Palmeiras, breaking Neymar's record and showing that, despite being 1.75 meters and 62 kilograms, he could generate massive shot volume against fully grown defenders. His body may be young, but his game was never small. But even with all that, we shouldn't fall into the trap of forcing a rivalry with Lamine Yamal. Yamal has already built a far longer learning curve. He has trophies, finals, and historic moments that place him in a stratosphere of experience no other teenager in the world can match. He carried Spain in the Euros, won 2 Liga titles, being key in one, and delivered a domestic treble to Barcelona that slipped out of Real Madrid's hands. Yamal is a prodigy who has already lived pressure at the highest levels. Estevão's timeline is shorter, his sample size smaller, and his journey is just beginning. That is precisely why his ceiling feels so terrifying, because he's producing at Yamal-like levels with far less time in the elite. But in the duel against Lamine Yamal, Estevão sent a message loud and clear. He showed he isn't scared of facing the best and that he has the talent to lift his team just like Yamal does for Barcelona. Every touch, every dribble, every decision shows clear signs that he belonged at that level.
Hi Mark. Obviously you played with Lamine Yamal for Spain. I was wondering whether it helps, I suppose, in terms of your preparation that you have Estevão at the moment to sort of prepare for these games and how do you prepare to face Yamal and how do you deal with him?
Yeah, well, Estevão, I tell him to put shin pads this training because I start to training with him.
And with that performance, he didn't just match Yamal, he hinted he might even surpass him. Chelsea saw a superstar who thrives in the same spotlight. The point isn't to compare them, the point is to enjoy them. Football is entering a golden generation of teenage talents. Franco Mastantuono, Seni Mayulu, Noah Siddiqui, Miles Lewis Skelly, Leonard Call, Max Dauman,
Dauman the target. Dauman goes down.
Gilberto Mora,
El 9. Pasó aquí la pelota para Gilberto. Mora la termina haciendo, apoyándose en corto. Domínguez que lo busca. Mora dentro del área. ¡Para gol! ¡Gol de México!
Rodrigo Mora, Andre Santos, Amad Diallo, and many more. These players are extraordinary, and forcing them into unnecessary comparisons only makes us miss the bigger picture. Among all of them, two names already shine as absolute certainties rather than promises: Lamine Yamal and Estevão Willian. They are not the future, they are the present, and they are about to dominate the next decade of world football. There is absolutely no doubt that Estevão Willian is going to be a player who will shut down the Premier League, but even the most frightening talents need minutes. And right now, that is the only thing separating Estevão Willian from turning this league inside out. The Brazilian has started 7 of his 16 matches for Chelsea in all competitions, but only 4 of those starts have come in the Premier League, a number that feels painfully low when you consider how impactful he has been every time he grazes the pitch. Chelsea's rotation plan under Maresca is deliberate. The club are managing a squad built for both domestic and European battles on the back of an exhausting summer in which the Blues became champions of the world.
Exploiting that space again. Now what a trick from Palmer! Superb! The finish is almost a carbon copy, but the dummy was bought hook, line and sinker.
Every player is being managed carefully, every workload monitored, and Estevão is no exception. But the speed at which the 18-year-old has become a fan favorite makes it inevitable. The demands for him to start every single week will only get louder. The real question now is how Chelsea balance their long-term plan with the pressure of what everyone can already see. Estevão is too good to stay on the bench because in the last few weeks, Estevão hasn't just played well, he has delivered the most electrifying moments at Stamford Bridge. Against Wolves, it was the burst of acceleration and the inch-perfect cross that created João Pedro's goal.
Go on, Steve-O. Go on.
Against Ajax, it was the outrageous overhead kick attempt that nearly overshadowed every other goal scored that night. And of course, against Liverpool, it was that cold, clinical dart into the box to finish first time under pressure and seal a victory that felt like a statement of intent. Of course, we understand Maresca's rotation philosophy, and yes, protecting young players is important, but Yamal's rise at Barcelona proves something undeniable. Elite talents thrive when trusted with minutes. And every time Estevão starts, he answers with the same consistency, the same explosiveness, the same maturity as Lamine Yamal's. 5 starts with Brazil. That is not potential. That is efficiency at the highest level.
Shoot.
Estevão is the Brazilian footballer the world was secretly waiting for. He is the true heir to Neymar, to Ronaldinho, to Pelé, a player who brings joy, chaos, elegance, arrogance, and cold-blooded execution all in one frame. He is the superstar the Premier League didn't know it needed, and the Diamond Chelsea desperately lacked. Week by week, he will give the league something to fear. Week by week, he will torture defenders who are simply not built to handle his technique and imagination. Estevão is the best Brazilian prodigy of the last decade, a generational talent ready to define an era in England. And for a player like him, the sky is not the limit, it's just the starting point. What are your thoughts on this?